Welcome to the second part of the first day of Design With Me series, which is the UI UX edition. And already in the first part of the first day, we looked at an overview of UI UX, explored a couple of information that would help you along the way for the next couple of days. Okay, so this is the second part where we explore the beautiful world of Figma, and I'm right here in Figma. So you have Figma already, just type figma.com online and you can download it for free and get a free account. So I'm intentionally using a free account for this entire tutorial, so you don't need to pay for now. You can just make do with the free account that would you can create. Okay, so we'll be exploring a couple of core tools that you'll be using in a couple of days most likely, and other ones are not that are never explored right now, but will be explained as the entire series goes on. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, of course, is to create a new file. So I intentionally came to this part, so you definitely see something that looks like this. If you've probably not used Figma before, you have this entire part empty. Okay, so it doesn't matter. So you can create a new file either by you have to create a new team and a new file. Just you can name your team or anything. You can just put your name. Okay, you can create multiple teams, so it's not as if you're restricted to just one team. Okay, so you create a team and then you create a new file. So you can just click on the button here. Okay, this particular button at the top here, or you can just come here and click on design file. Okay, so I think I'll just go with this simpler one. So click the button, then I click in new design file, and that creates a new one for me. Okay, so you already have something that looks like this. So this is what so once you have this, you already have a new file. Now you can now decide to save this file right from the start, or you can just work and then save it on later. Okay, so to save it as a name, it will be saved by default under drafts. When it will be saved under file, you have to rename it and then put it under a team. Okay, so that's very important. All right, so we have our file selected. So as I said, you can just rename it as anything. Okay, so let me just add someone to rename it as something. Okay, and then I'm done. I named it as SSS. Okay, so but I don't need a new file. I have a file I want to use, so I don't need to create a new file for this. Okay, but for the course of this explanation, I'll just use this particular new project. But let's just call this demo work demo class. And I'm done. Okay, so I'll be exploring a couple of new tools. No, it's actually new tools, just some tools I believe you should have as part of your arsenal. You're going to definitely be working on Figma. Okay, so I'll just list a couple of them and then we explore them together. So the first one on our list is the selection tool. Okay, so before I use the selection tool, let me create something so I can be able to manipulate whatever I create. Okay, so just don't worry, I will explain this part very soon. So just for me to have something I can move around. Now we have the selection tool. Okay, so this particular tool is like one of the major tools in Figma, right? And is the default tool that helps you to select something or to manipulate stuff around in Figma. Okay, so V is the shortcut. So just press V on your keyboard to activate the selection tool. So if I'm probably on this particular tool, I press V to go back. So the top here is where the selection tool is. Okay, you can say as I hover over it, you can also call it move tool actually. Okay, so it's the same thing as move tool. Okay, so as I hover over, you can see that it shows the shortcut, which is V, right? So that's concerning that. So that's the first tool I want us to know. So it is the default for us to move stuff around. So let's say I want to move this around. You can see I'm moving this around right now. Okay, so okay, for you to be sure I'm moving it around, because there's another tool that might look similar to this, I might not be sure. Let me show you what I'm saying. So for example, if I say I want to move this over this, you can see I can move this around. This one, the other one is staying in place. Okay, so why I said there's another one that looks like similar to it is the hand tool. So the hand tool allows you to move the entire canvas, but we'll get to that, don't worry. Just want to be sure that there are a couple of things that might look alike. But for the move to selection tool, you can use to move stuff around. All right, so now the second tools you want to look at are the shapes tools. Right, the shape tools, you use them to create shapes. So you have the rectangle, you have the ellipse. So to activate that, they have multiple shortcuts, but when you look at the top here, okay, when you look at the top here, after Figma icon, you see the move tool, then you see frame, then you see this. So under this, you have a couple of shapes. So you have rectangle, you have line, you have arrow, you have ellipse, you have polygon, you have star, and you have place an image. Okay, so a couple of them are the shape tools. Okay, and then we have the place image, which is added to that. So we have I already listed them already. Okay, so most of them have their own individual shortcuts. So for rectangle, you have R. Okay, for line, you have L for the shortcut. For arrow, you have Shift L. For ellipse, that's like circle, that kind of thing, you have O on your keyboard, and then polygon and then star. Okay, so those are shape tools. So let's create a couple of examples based on that. Let's create a rectangle right now. So creating a rectangle now. This is a rectangle. Okay, so now rectangles and frames might look similar. They're not the same thing. Their functions are very different, and I'll show you. Now look at the left part of my screen right now. You see, this is the new rectangle I just created right now. The other parts are labeled as frame. Okay, so the other two I created first are frames. This one I just created right now is a rectangle. I will explain the difference in a moment now. So now still talking about shapes. So this is a shape right now. You have the rectangle. Okay, let's create another shape. Let's create a line. Okay, this is a line right now. I may not see it because it's black. Okay, but it's a line there. Okay, let me just delete it. Right, and then we have an arrow. We have an ellipse. Let's create an ellipse right now. Okay, I'm just dragging right now. Nothing serious. I'm just dragging around my screen. Okay, and then I just give it a color. I will get into colors also very soon. Okay, so let's give it a color red, and then we're done. So these are the tools for you to create shapes in Figma, right? So the third tool I want to talk about is the text tool. So when you still at the top here, after frame we have shape. Okay, before I get into text, let me talk about frame right now. So for frame, how do I explain frame? So frame is very important when it comes to UI UX design, especially when you're using Figma. So anything you want to create, usually, especially when it comes to products, has to be created within a frame. So for example, looking at a device, or yeah, let's just say device. Okay, you want to design for a device or a couple of responsive devices and that kind of thing. Okay, we need a frame, and each of the devices have their own dimensions in screen. Okay, so frame helps you to do that. So it helps you to confine your designs in codes into a dimension that is what's the word now? That is defined, yes. So it's defined and specific. So for example, let's assume that your MacBook, you want to design for a MacBook, and the size is like 10 by 20, that kind of thing. Okay, so the frame you have to make sure that your design is not passing that particular dimension. Okay, so once you create a frame that particular size, everything you're going to be designing is going to be within that frame. It's going to be within that specified dimensions. Hope that's clear. Okay, so that's what the frame is essentially about. Okay, you may ask, okay, why can't I do the same thing with rectangle since you can define the same dimensions? But when it comes to the world of Figma, rectangles are limited in what they can do compared to frame. Frame are made for that, not rectangles. Okay, so while there's a lot of things you can actually double as and then use in as an improvise, okay, just use what is better for what you want to achieve. Okay, so frames are what you do is for that. And I'll show an example now. So let's say I want to design for probably website now. I want to design for desktop. You usually see that once you click on frame. Let me show you what I'm saying. Now, when I click on when I'm using my move tool, my right toolbar here is usually like this. Looks like this. Okay. So, but once I click on frame or I press L for my keyboard, it shows me presets. Okay. So you see phone preset. If I click on that, you see a lot of options here. You see tablet, you see desktop, you see presentation, you see watch. So you can see that it gives us predefined dimensions of the gigabyte product you want to work on. Okay, you can definitely change this. You understand, but you also have a specified dimensions in your mind, so you can have something to work with. So let's just say, okay, I want to design for a MacBook Pro 14. Click on that. By itself, it brings it up. Okay, so I don't need to cram the dimensions by myself. It's already there by default on Figma. Okay, so that's the essence of a frame. So whatever I'm going to be designing is going to be within this frame. Okay, so of course, you know that if I'm working on websites, the website might be longer, so I can easily just drag it. I don't need to necessarily have to drag the width, but the height can be increased, you guys. So that's that about that. Okay, so that's on frame. I've covered frame, I've covered selection tool, and I've covered shapes too. So let's talk about text too right now. So let me zoom in into our frame now. Let's say we want to design something on our MacBook right now. Okay, so I will explain how to zoom in a minute. Let me just cover a couple of things first. So for the text tool now, yeah, so you can just press T on your keyboard, letter T on your keyboard, okay? Or you come to the top here and then you see this particular icon labeled as T. That's your text. Okay, so once you click on that, you can easily type anything. So I can type okay, my name is Deji. And right now it's already written, but it's very small. But let me zoom in. You can see it's there, okay? But because we said let's increase the size. Right now the size is on 12. Okay, you can see it's on 12 right now. And yeah, so this particular small panel is for controlling text. So you can see it's labeled as text. Okay, so the first thing you see is the font name, then the font style, which is regular, right? And the font size. There are other options, but let's just stick with this first three. So for the size now, I want it to be bigger than this. Let's just make it 100 just for practices. You can see it's much bigger right now. Okay, so then the style is on regular right now, but if you want it to be bold, you can just press bold. You can see the difference between regular and bold. So that's the essence of that part. And then for the font name, if you wanted a different kind of font, I can just click it. Okay, you can see the font is different right now. So that's the three essential things I think you should know when it comes to text. Okay, so now let's talk about pen tool. Okay, I think I'll leave pen tool for now. Leave pen tool for now. It's a bit can be a bit crazy. Okay, so I've spoken about frame. Yeah, let's talk about layers panel. I think I covered it a bit before. So now the left hand side here, you have a couple of things. So for example, if you have a lot of resources on your file and you want to look for something, you can search for it. Okay, just press search here and then you can type what you are looking for. Okay, and then next to it you see this panel called layers. So it lists all the layers you have on your file. Okay, so right now I have this layer called frame 1. You can see this as I over it here. You see is highlighted at the left hand side. Same thing where I highlight over this. You see frame 2. We have the rectangle, you have the ellipse, and you have the MacBook frame. Okay, so this layers helps you to keep things organized. So for example, let's say I wanted to do something whereby I stack a couple of layers over each other. Usually when you're working, you stack a lot of layers, but let's do this practically right now. Let me delete these guys. I don't need them right now. So let me say I want to stack these guys. I want to create multiples of these. So let me give them different colors to make them different from. I'm just going to be using red colors. Don't worry. Just for an illustration purpose. Okay. So very red colors, but don't worry. So the essence is for the illustration purpose. Now, this last one, which is the color blue, is ellipse 3. Okay, you can see it here. But let me just label it just to be sure. Okay, I don't label. Don't worry. So you can see that I'm stacking these guys over each other. So let's say the reason why I'm able to do this is because the layer at the topmost will be over others. It's very basic math. So the one that is at the top will cover the others. So you can see layer ellipse 3, which is the blue, is covering ellipse 2, then which is in turn covering ellipse 1. Okay, so if I decide to put all of them to be aligned to the same thing, you really see the blue one because it's at the top. If I decide to bring the red one, which is below, and bring it at the top now, see it comes up. Even though others are still under it, but because they have the same size and they are underneath that layer, it looks as if it's invisible. So if I just decide to move out, you can see they're still there. Alright? So I think that's the one basic explanation of layers. So you have to understand that the layer that is at the top, when the layers panel will overshadow each other layer that is beneath it, that kind of thing. So you can arrange things manually with your layers panel, actually, you get. And then there are also some shortcut for you to align layers and to rearrange them. But let's not get too much advanced and then let's not get idle ourselves. Just for us to have a basic knowledge of what layers panel is about. Okay, so then let's look at align and distribute tool. So I used that tool a minute ago. So let's use that right now. So let's bring this blue into our frame. So I practically just drag it into this place. Okay, so let's do something a bit fun. Okay, right. So now you can see we have a problem right now. Maybe not the problem. It can be an effect. You can see that the blue is covering the text, and that's because why the ellipse layer is over the text layer. So now if I want the text layer to show above the blue, I just drag it here. Very simple. You can see now it's showing above it. So that's another very good explanation. Now you notice that I didn't need to press any shortcut for this blue to stay within the frame. And that's the essence of a frame. If I try that to the rectangle, even though it's the same size, let me show you what I'm saying. Now this is a frame of this size. Okay, if I decide to create a rectangle of a similar size and I try that to bring in a shape into it, it won't work. Now this is a rectangle, not a frame, right? Now if I decide to bring this same shape, okay, and then I'm like, okay, let's bring this guy to stick into this. Figma doesn't recognize it as a frame, so it just treats them as normal layers. Okay, so that's like one of the differences of you walking around. So and you can, of course, you can do manually, but very stressful. So just stick with using frame to design, right? So I was talking about aligning, yeah. So so now let's say I want to have this blue guy in the center. Yeah, you can do it manually. You can, once you see a couple of red lines showing in the middle or probably horizontally, is helping you to align stuff. Okay, you can do that manually, and of course you can do it also what's it called, automatically. So let's look at the automatic way. Let's say my blue is way off somewhere around here. I want it to be centered. Okay, well, first let me change this horrible color. The color is horrible. God. All right, so something around, yeah, it's okay. All right, so I want to align this right now. So at the top here, you see design and you see these guys that follows. So you have these options are for aligning. So you have align left, you have aligning to the horizontal centers, that is the horizontal centers, and then you have align to the right, and then you have align to the top, you have align to the vertical centers, and you have align to the bottom. So right now I want to align to my horizontal centers first. So once I click on this, by itself, it comes to the horizontal center, okay? And then if my stuff was way off, okay, let me make it a bit way off. So I want to click on horizontal centers for now. You can see it comes to the center horizontally. But now I still want it to be the center vertically itself, okay? When I click on this, it comes to the vertical center, okay? So those two options are very, very key when it comes to put something in the vertical center and the horizontal center, okay? But don't worry, it's not crazy. As you practice more, you can try a lot of things actually. I actually invite you to explore things, not just to make do with everything I see, okay? So that's that on aligning. So these guys are the ones you use for aligning stuff around, okay? So that's that about that. So but I think I like this way it's looking right now. It's okay. Okay, so I want to have something fun around. Yeah. Okay, so don't mind me, I'm just trying to create something. Yeah. Right. So good. So we have this. Let me just align this also to the center and then good. So what other tools should we explore before we make this covered? Okay. Yeah, the zoom. Now the zoom is very important. Okay, the zoom is very important. So for your zoom now, there are a couple of things you can do. So for if you don't use an external keyboard, sorry, an external mouse, you can just press Control plus on your keyboard. Right, that should be Control what's the equal sign now? The equal sign. Okay, but of course it has plus and keep on equal sign on your keyboard, so that's why I'm using plus. I usually just have it in my mind that it's plus. Right, so just press Control and that's plus on your keyboard, or equal sign, whichever way you say the same thing, or you press Control minus to zoom out. Okay, and then if you forget, you can just come to the top here, click on the icon here, and click on, that should be view. Yeah, view. So to zoom in, you can see Control plus, and then to zoom out, it's Control minus. Okay, so those two shortcuts are very key. Now, I think that's about it for zooming. Then there are other options. So, for example, if you have multiple screens you're working on, and then you want to focus on one, right? Let's say, for example, I have these two screens, and then I have, let me say I have like 3 screens, okay, and then I want to focus on this one, right? Instead of me having to zoom in manually, okay, okay, to use your mouse now, so you press Control your keyboard, and then your mouse wheel, you just scroll it up and down. It helps you to zoom in. Instead of you having to remember Control plus and Control minus, just press Control your keyboard, and then you can use your mouse wheel to slide up and down. Okay, so now as I was saying, I wanted to, let's say instead of me having to zoom in and zoom out, even if it was very small like this, and once I have this stuff selected here, you can see selected right now, and I press Shift plus 2 on my keyboard, I can make that my only focus. So when I press Shift and 2 right now, I can say that's my only focus. This is the only frame I'm seeing, but that's still there. but I can easily focus on this. Now, if I wanted to see everything I have on my screen, all the layers and stuff like that, I press Shift and 1. So I can see every single layer is being shown right now. In fact, if I have this guy as far as somewhere here, and I was probably here right now, and I press Shift 1, it shows everything, including the side. You can see before it was not passing this side, but because I have this, as even as far as it will show it. So Shift 1 will show you everything you have on your file, like your current file or your current page of the file. All right, and then Shift 2 will focus on particular frame or layer you are selected right now. So those two things are very, very cool. So I think I've covered most of the things you will be needing in the coming days as it regards the tools for you to design. There are a couple of other things you probably step into and then talk about in the coming days, but at least for now, you have something very good going on. Okay, so I look forward to seeing you in day 2, and enjoy the rest of the day.